acceptance, and fear. The aftermath of the encounter left Aden reeling. The world, once a predictable tapestry of lectures, late-night study sessions, and the comforting rhythm of his ordinary life, had fractured, revealing a hidden, vibrant underworld teeming with creatures of myth and legend. He had known Lilith was different, had felt the pull of her enigmatic aura, the whisper of something ancient and powerful within her. But the fiery display in Washington Square Park had shattered his carefully constructed reality. The girl he loved, the girl he was falling hopelessly in love with, was a vampire, a creature of darkness and immense power, a being far older than his own grandparents, possibly even his great-grandparents. The initial shock morphed into a disorienting wave of fear, a cold dread that seeped into his bones. Images flashed through his mind, fangs, claws, the chilling gleam in the other vampire's eyes, the raw, untamed power that Lilith had unleashed. He'd seen death that day, a tangible manifestation of the supernatural world that had always existed just beyond the veil of his ordinary life. He wondered if he too was marked for death, a victim of the dangerous world Lilith inhabited. Yet, amidst the terror, a strange sense of wonder bloomed. It wasn't simply fascination with the fantastic. It was a profound respect for Lilith's strength, her ability to wield such immense power with such terrifying grace. He had seen her vulnerability, the tremor in her hands after the battle, the raw fear in her eyes as she awaited his reaction. That vulnerability oddly humanized her, connecting him to her on a level that transcended her otherworldly nature. It wasn't simply a case of accepting the unbelievable. It was embracing the immensity of who she was, an ancient, powerful vampire, a being of myth and legend, yet a woman capable of love, capable of fear, capable of vulnerability. He hadn't run, he hadn't screamed, he hadn't recoiled in horror. Instead, he had reached for her hand, a simple gesture that spoke volumes about the strength of their connection, the depth of his feelings. His love for her hadn't diminished. It had grown, expanding to encompass the extraordinary reality that he now shared with her. It was a love tempered by fear, but fueled by an unwavering loyalty, a determination to stand by her side, no matter the darkness that lay ahead. His world had changed irrevocably, yet in that change, he found a new sense of purpose, a new direction, a new life, one he wasn't entirely sure he understood, but one he was willing to embrace with her. The days that followed were a whirlwind of revelations. Lilith, slowly and carefully, began to unravel the tapestry of her existence. She spoke of centuries lived in the shadows, of ancient feuds and bitter rivalries, of the weight of her lineage, the inescapable legacy of her father, Lucian, the first vampire. Aden listened, absorbing the details with a voracity that surprised even himself. He devoured books on mythology, on vampiric lore, on the hidden histories of the supernatural world. His academic mind, once focused on history textbooks, now grappled with a reality far more compelling, far more profound, and far more dangerous. He discovered a world of intricate rules and ancient customs, a world governed by power dynamics as complex and ruthless as any political landscape. He learned about the different factions within the vampire world, the simmering tensions between the old and the new, the struggles for dominance and control. He learned about the hunters, the humans, and the other supernatural beings who sought to eradicate vampires like Lilith. The world he knew was but a fraction of the reality that now surrounded him. Their relationship deepened, their conversations evolving from shy whispers to passionate discussions about ancient texts and forgotten rituals. They spent hours in libraries, poring over dusty tomes, deciphering cryptic symbols, and piecing together the fragmented history of Lilith's family. Aden, with his analytical mind, became an invaluable asset, helping Lilith decipher clues and interpret ancient prophecies. He provided a grounding force, a connection to the mortal world that anchored her in the present, a steady hand in the storm of her extraordinary life. His fear remained, a constant undercurrent in his newfound reality, but it was overshadowed by a profound sense of awe and a fierce protective instinct. He felt a responsibility to protect Lilith, to help her navigate the dangers that threatened her existence. He wasn't a warrior, not a supernatural being with ancient powers, but he was loyal, resourceful, and deeply in love. He was Lilith's anchor in the mortal world, a crucial support that she relied upon in a way she didn't fully comprehend, yet herself. The news of Lucian's pursuit intensified their sense of urgency. Lilith's father, the first vampire, possessed unimaginable power, a darkness that dwarfed even her own. He was a force of nature, a terrifying manifestation of ancient evil, and he was coming for them. The impending threat transformed their relationship into something more than a romance. It became a powerful alliance, a shared mission to survive. Their discussions extended beyond ancient texts and historical archives. They spent hours talking about their dreams, their fears, their vulnerabilities. They shared their past traumas, their hopes for the future. Aden opened his heart to Lilith, revealing insecurities he'd never voiced before, and Lilith, in turn, peeled back layers of her ancient, hardened heart, revealing the scars and the vulnerabilities that lay beneath centuries of carefully constructed walls. The impending danger, the threat of Lucian's arrival, forged a bond between them that was both fierce and tender. It was a bond built on mutual respect, on a deep understanding of each other's strengths and weaknesses, on an unwavering loyalty that transcended the boundaries of their vastly different worlds. They had found something profound in each other, a connection that went beyond the romantic, a partnership that combined ancient power with unwavering loyalty, a unique blend of fierce determination and tender love. Their journey was far from over. The road ahead was fraught with danger, uncertainty, and the ever-present threat of Lucian's wrath. But they faced it together, hand in hand, their love a beacon of hope in a world consumed by darkness, a testament to the strength of their bond and their refusal to surrender to the odds stacked against them. Their love story wasn't just a forbidden romance. It was a testament to the enduring power of love in the face of unimaginable peril, a powerful and unwavering alliance in a world of shadows, magic, and ancient evils. The world, once so small and predictable, had expanded infinitely, revealing a vast and terrifying landscape. But they had each other, and that was all that truly mattered. A threat emerges. The attack came without warning, a brutal assault that ripped through the fragile peace of their newfound reality. It wasn't Lucian, it was a pack of lesser vampires, their eyes burning with a feral hunger, their movements jerky and uncontrolled, driven by a primal lust for power and a deep-seated resentment of Lilith's lineage. They were scavengers, attracted by the scent of Lilith's unique bloodline, a lineage that pulsed with the raw power of the first vampire, Lucian himself. They ambushed Aden on his way home from a late-night study session, their claws extended, their fangs bared, their eyes glittering with malice. He hadn't seen them coming, the shadows of the city concealing their approach until it was too late. They were fast, vicious, their attacks precise and brutal, aiming for his jugular, for his heart, for the very essence of his life. Aden, unarmed and unprepared, found himself overwhelmed, their weight pressing down on him, their fangs inches from his skin. Lilith arrived in a whirlwind of fire, her presence instantly altering the dynamic of the fight. The lesser vampires, startled by her arrival, hesitated, their movements faltering for a mere second, a second that would prove crucial. But it wasn't enough. One of the creatures lunged, its fangs sinking deep into Aden's arm, injecting its venom into his bloodstream. Aden cried out, a sharp, piercing sound that cut through the night, his body convulsing as the venom spread through his system. Panic clawed at Lilith's throat. She knew the venom. It was a slow, agonizing death. A viscous poison that would consume him from the inside out, leaving him a hollow shell before finally claiming his life. She fought fiercely, her fire scorching the attackers, her movements swift and lethal, but she was outnumbered, her power spread thin as she fought to protect the one she loved. She could feel the life draining from Aden, the venom overpowering his defenses, his body growing cold, his breaths growing shallow. It was then, in that moment of desperation, that she made the decision. It was a choice born of love, of desperation, of a fierce unwillingness to let the man she loved slip away from her grasp. She had known this day might come, knew the risks inherent in their relationship. She had warned him, but words felt inadequate to encompass the reality of this precarious existence. Now the cold, hard truth was laid bare, the stakes impossibly high, and a simple choice needed to be made. With a raw grief tearing through her, she brought him to her, her fangs touching his neck. The transformation was swift, brutal, and agonizing for both of them. The venom was neutralized, yes, but in its place came a wave of searing pain as her own blood surged into his veins, transforming him, altering him, making him one of them. It wasn't a gentle transition. It was a cataclysmic shift, a brutal rewriting of his very essence. He screamed again, a sound of agony and transformation, a battle between life and death, between man and vampire. His body convulsed, his muscles straining, his bones shifting as his physiology restructured. The venom was replaced by her blood, but the trauma of the transition lingered. The pain was visceral, relentless, tearing through him as his human body was remade, reforged into something new, something ancient, something powerful. When the transformation was complete, a strange calm descended. Aden's eyes, once filled with fear and pain, now glowed with an inner fire, reflecting the power that had been unleashed within him. He wasn't merely transformed, he was reborn, his consciousness altered, his very essence forever changed. He looked to Lilith, a new understanding dawning in his eyes, a connection born from shared trauma. The lesser vampires, weakened and scattered, had long since fled. Lilith held Aden close, her own pain mirrored in his, but hers was tempered with a sense of relief, a mixture of joy and immense grief. She'd saved him, yes, but at a cost she could scarcely comprehend. He was a vampire now, bound to her not just by love, but by the very essence of their shared blood, their fates eternally intertwined. The following weeks were a blur of intense training. Lilith, recognizing the urgent need for Aden to control his newfound abilities, began a grueling regimen, pushing him to his limits. Aden discovered he possessed the unique ability to manipulate both fire and wind, a rare and powerful combination that surpassed even Lilith's capabilities. His training wasn't just about physical prowess. It was a crash course in self-control, in learning to manage the raw power surging within him, learning to harness his abilities without succumbing to the primal urges of his new nature. The transformation was more than physical. It was a shift in their dynamic. They had been lovers. Now they were something more, bonded by shared trauma and purpose, partners in a fight for survival. Their relationship, already complex and extraordinary, had become even more layered, imbued with a profound intimacy born from their shared experience. Their bond became a powerful force, weaving them tighter than any love could have. They practiced in abandoned warehouses, Lilith using her own powers to push him, to test his limits, to force him to adapt. He faltered at times, the raw power overwhelming him, the unfamiliar sensations testing his resolve, but each time Lilith was there, her guidance firm but gentle, her support unwavering. He learned to channel his anger into controlled bursts of fire, his fear into protective gusts of wind. He learned to control his thirst, to resist the primal urge to feed, to temper the wild, untamed nature of his new self. He was still Aden, but a stronger, a more powerful Aden. Their training sessions were punctuated by long talks, by heartfelt confessions, by the sharing of vulnerabilities both had shielded for centuries. Aden, transformed, still possessed the same kindness and humanity he had before. He questioned his transformation, questioned his place in this new reality, but he never faltered in his love for Lilith, his loyalty absolute. His fears were now shared fears. Their burdens were shared burdens. His love for Lilith deepened, expanding to encompass the extraordinary challenges and dangers that lay before them. Lilith, on the other hand, was wrestling with the consequences of her decision. She had turned the man she loved into a creature of the night, forcing him into this world of shadows, a world of danger and conflict. She saw the pain in his eyes, the fear of the unknown, the struggle to reconcile his humanity with his new reality. She bore the weight of this decision, a constant reminder of the brutal reality of their existence. Their love was tested daily, strengthened by the shared trauma and experience. As their training progressed, the news of Lucian's pursuit intensified. Reports from other vampires, whispers in the dark corners of the underworld confirmed that Lucian was closing in. He knew what Lilith had done, and his wrath promised to be devastating. They were not only facing lesser vampires now, they were facing the most powerful vampire of all. They had to prepare for the inevitable confrontation. The threat looming over them was the greatest they had ever faced. The fight for survival strengthened their bond exponentially. The knowledge of Lucian's impending arrival gave their training a new urgency, a desperate intensity. They were not just learning to fight, they were learning to survive, not only for themselves but for each other. Their relationship transcended simple romance. It was a forged alliance, a testament to their shared commitment to overcome unimaginable odds. Their love blossomed stronger, the challenges binding them tightly. Their journey was far from over. They were facing an ancient evil, a force of nature, but their love, forged in the fires of transformation and strengthened by the threat of impending doom, was their greatest weapon. Hand in hand, they prepared to confront the first vampire, ready to fight for their love, their lives, and their future, in a battle that would determine not only their fate, but the fate of the entire supernatural world. Their love story was a testament to their courage, their commitment, and their refusal to surrender to the darkness that threatened to engulf them. Their journey was just beginning, and the road ahead was paved with danger and uncertainty, but they faced it together, their love a guiding light in the encroaching darkness. Stay tuned for Chapter 4, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like the video.